Hey my thrifty friends, Tabs here from the Urban Goddess shop. If you are new here, I'm a Canadian reseller. I sell on Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, just started back onto Depop, and I like to sell used clothing. I'm a mom to 2 girls, a wife, and I work part-time in a hospital pharmacy. So today's video is one of my favorite weekly videos. We do this every Monday, and it is a work with me video. And this is where I like to say it's also kind of like a get shit done video. I'm going to chat your ear off. We're going to talk about different reseller topics. They do tend to have a lot of Poshmark focus, but we're covering multiple platforms, and today's video we got a lot of different platforms to talk about. I'm not even going to give you guys a run through in the beginning because I want you to stick around till the end. New year, lots of things to discuss, and I'm just really excited about this. So if you're new, pay attention for this logo. It's going to pop up on the thumbnails, and this means that this is a work with me. It's a long form content video. That was kind of a mouthful. All right, let's jump in. First off, I always like to do a life and business update. So life-wise, we've been busy. Last week was a short week because of, what was it? New Year's Eve. Oh my gosh, I feel like so much time has passed since then. So it was a short work week. I mean, most people were running on Tuesday to Friday. I picked up 2 12-hour shifts at work, and then I haven't sourced in like 3 weeks, legit 3 weeks. So first thing I did on my day off work was go sourcing, try and get some fresh items for my closet, and then also trying to get my listing goals done. I did not hit my listing goal. My listing goal is 40 items a week, and I think I hit 26. Now, as of recording, this is Sunday night, I may try and list like 5 or 6 more items and try and get to 30, but I don't know. I'm like not wanting to kill myself over this because sales have been slow. So one more thing about my personal life, we were out this weekend at my father-in-law's and working on our ambulance. I know I promised I was going to have a channel uploaded, and I have not created it yet, but it is coming soon. I need to prioritize some time to it, but I promise it's coming soon, and we're going to share our build out of our ambulance. Now, business-wise, like I said, it's been slow. I think I may have hit $250 in sales this week. That is an incredibly slow week for me. Incredibly slow. And I just don't get it. Like, I'm doing everything, I'm sharing. I think it's just slow for a lot of people. I know some people are like, I'm getting lots of sales and things have been good. But those are like 5% of sellers right now. I feel like most people are feeling a little bit of the crunch. It is the first week of the month, which I usually find the first week of the month is a little bit slower for me. Also, I think that people are still feeling the crunch from Christmas, right? Also, add on inflation, you know, lots of stuff going on. So, I don't know. I'm hoping things pick up. I really need things to pick up. On the business side, I am sourcing incredibly smart. I'm only grabbing things that I know will sell and that have a proven sell-through rate. I'm very conscious of my cost of goods because I feel like some items have been dropping in price for what they're selling for. And the profit margin I had, you know, 6 months ago on these items isn't necessarily the same. That's kind of my business take. I think I'm just being super cautious right now, and I'm not leaving reselling. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not giving up. I think this is going to turn around. I'm also anticipating some changes in Poshmark over the next couple of months, so eagerly waiting for that as well. Otherwise, yeah, we're just waiting for fresh snow in the mountains so that we can go do some snowboarding, and it is a dry season, but that's kind of where I'm at outside of these videos. All right, let's jump into some topics. Some of these are going to be news things, and some are questions that I hear often. And I wanted to address one of the first questions, and this is something we talk about, I feel like I talk about every couple months, and I hear this often, and it's, do stars matter on Poshmark? Because let's admit it, we all get upset when we get a less than 5-star rating, especially when we know that it's not warranted. Sometimes you get one and you're like, yeah, you know, maybe that sweater wasn't like the best sweater, or, oh, there's a hole in it and you missed it and you're like, yeah, I totally missed that. And you're like, yeah, totally, yeah, give me a less than 5-star rating. But a lot of the times I feel personally like it doesn't warrant the less than 5-star rating. Now, I just want to say, don't stress about it, because Posh, I have to read my notes here. Posh only shares comments on 5-star reviews. So if someone left you like a 3-star review and they're like, packaging was awful, whatever they have to say, no one would actually read that except for you. So even though it still hurts our feelings and we're like, kind of bummed out about it, at least no one else reads that, right? And I think that's something that people don't know. They assume that other people are going to be able to read it. Also, if someone leaves you a 5-star review, and this has never happened to me, but I've heard it happen to other people, they've left a 5-star review so that they can leave a really nasty review, because they know that you have to leave a 5-star for the love note to pop up into your account, or like for other people to read. If that happens, you can now delete this, where before you had to contact Posh and you had to get it removed that way, but now you can remove love notes yourself, and it's pretty quick and easy. I personally haven't had to do it, so I don't have the steps here, but I'm sure if you looked it up, you'd be able to find that. And how I look at it's great to receive 5-star ratings. I mean, nothing feels better than for you to know that someone received their item and they love it, because that's what our goal is. You want people to be happy with the purchases and to continue shopping and making more purchases on the app. But if you do receive one, take it as a grain of salt. If there's constructive criticism in the comment that you're like, okay, maybe I need to work at that, or okay, maybe I did take a long time to ship this item and I need to work on getting my items to the post office in, a shorter period of time, then take that, apply it into your business. But for the most part, grain of salt, throw it over, forget about it. Don't stress about it. Don't let it affect you and how you're running your business. Don't let it jade you against everyone else. Like, I'm just giving you a pep talk because I've seen it in Facebook groups. I've seen it in Instagram posts. I've just seen people talking about it, and it does hurt, but it's not the end of the world. So here is some transparency on my star ratings and how many I have. So if you are like, but I have 3 1-star or 3 4-star ratings, I'm going to tell you my stats. I have sold 3,687 items on Poshmark. I have 2,070 5-star ratings. I have 78 4-star ratings. I have 19 3-star ratings. I have 7 2-star ratings, and I have 10 1-star ratings. And I can tell you those 1-star ratings, every single one of them was not warranted a 1-star rating. But what can you do? People are entitled to rate their experience however they want. Just know that these do not mean anything. You can have less than 5-star ratings and still be successful. I still make sales. Outside of this time where my sales are really slow, but generally, like over the last 2.5 years, I still make sales and consider my closet to run successfully, right? I'm making money off it. I'm moving forward. This does not affect your business. And Poshmark, I think you have to maintain a certain star rating to keep your Poshmark ambassador. So that's obviously where you would be worried. But your less than 5 stars should be a very small percentage of the whole scheme of it. If you're finding that you're getting a lot of less than 5 stars, I think you need to look at what you're selling and how you're running your business, because maybe there is something that you're doing wrong. But I don't think that it's hard to achieve the minimum standard for Posh Ambassador. So I just wanted to throw that out there. All right. Another question that I recently saw was someone asked if I wash all the items I sell. And when I first started reselling, I felt like this was such a taboo thing to talk about. It was just like something people did not mention, and people either felt really strongly about it, against it, or with it, or whatever. Everyone had a strong opinion on it. I do not care what other people think about how I do my business, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, because you may be in the same boat that I am. My answer is no. I do not wash everything that I source. And I want to add a disclaimer in here. I do not source at the bins. And I feel like if I was a bin shopper, this would be probably a different statement, because I have shopped at the bins and the items are definitely different than anywhere else. They are dirtier, they are crustier, they are stained, they're damaged. It's yeah, it's different items. I mean, there's lots of great pieces, but definitely there was more items I needed to wash when I did sourcing through the bins. I feel like most of the items I'm sourcing are clean and in good condition. I typically don't source items that are going to need a lot of cleaning because, and I'm going to talk about this. So no stains, no dirtiness to them. I don't think I would grab soiled items on purpose from the stores that I shop in, and this is more based on my cost of goods. So I would have to evaluate what is the cost of goods, what time would it take to clean this item, and then what would be my sale price. So I always like to use the term, is the juice worth the squeeze? Resellers getting, 25 items for $20 at the bins, the juice is worth the squeeze. It's worth washing all your items. You have to, right? But you're paying a fraction of the cost for your cost of goods. But really, I think it's up to you what you choose to do. I think when I'm paying what I'm paying for items, if I have to wash them as well, there better be some profit gain there, because if I'm only making $7 or $10 or $15 off an item, it doesn't, it's not worth it to me. That's just me. That's how I run my business. I think everyone can run theirs however they want. And I feel like this is a topic that people feel strongly about. What I do like to use is this spray, and it is called Zero Odor. I'm going to put a link down below. I use this on anything that has a smell. Typically, the smells that I would come across on an item, maybe like a musky smell or a cigarette smoke smell. And this works wonders. I don't know if you've ever used it. It's the Zero Odor Eliminator. This is the multi-purpose one. I think there's some different types that you can get. I grab it on Amazon and it is worth every penny. I know it's expensive. You're going to click on it and go, oh my gosh, I'm not spending that much money, but it is worth it. I've had this bottle for 2.5 years and it's still half full. There's still lots in here. You don't need very much and it works really good. Basically, it is a molecular neutralizer. That's what it says in here. Spray Zero Odor 4 to 8 times in the air or on any hard or soft surface. If the odor is deeply embedded, an additional applications may be necessary on fabrics and carpet. Pre-test for color fastness and water staining. Do not apply directly on people or pets. I don't know anyone that would put that on their pet or people. I guess if it got sprayed by a skunk maybe, but why would you spray your pet with this? I don't know. Yeah, it works really good. So I had a pair of cowboy boots. I don't know if they were Fry, they were good leather cowboy boot, and not like a traditional cowboy, but they were like a Fry brand or something. Anyways, I sold them once and the lady said they smelled like smoke and she sent them back. Now they did have a faint smell of smoke, but nothing where I was like, I don't want these. I think she had a little bit of buyer's remorse. When they came back, I sprayed them with that, and I think I did three rounds of spraying, and then I just set them on I think I even put them in the garage so that they could really deodorize. And honestly, the smell was gone. I use it commonly on jeans. I don't know, out of all the items I source, the things that are going to smell like cigarette smoke tend to be either boots, shoes, or jeans. And I've used this on jeans as well. Gets the smell of smoke out of them. I've never had a complaint on an item when it's received that the item smells. So yeah, highly recommend. I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse here, but I think that this is liquid gold, literal liquid gold. The other thing I should talk about is that I also use Tide to Go. This is something that I would use on small stains, or I'll use Dawn dish soap and just put a little bit on a rag and give it a wash if I have to, and try and do a spot removal. Be careful with Tide to Go because it can cause kind of a bleaching on some items. I've had it discolor a couple, so just be careful. Certain material contents, I wouldn't put it on silk. There's just a couple things that you got to be careful. So make sure you do a spot check quickly with it and then use that. But yeah, that is it. I do not wash everything, and these are literally just my tricks. And the odd thing I will, but yeah, I am sourcing to not have to do extra work for what I'm paying for my items. All right, let's keep moving along. We're gonna start to get into some of the good stuff. So USPS, I always feel weird talking about USPS because I know nothing about it. Only what I read online. Because I live in Canada, we have Canada Post. They are very similar, but I don't have experience with all like the priority mailboxes and all these things. So, okay, here's the news. USPS has announced they are discontinuing priority mail regional rate boxes A and B effective January 22nd, 2023. These boxes will no longer be produced by the USPS, and the current priority mail regional rate pricing will no longer apply. I think that's pretty straightforward. I don't have anything else to add on this. If you're in the States and you use this mailbox, you know what this message means, you know how to interpret it, that it is no longer effective January 22nd, not being produced, and the rate does not apply anymore. So keep that in mind. That's coming up. I think it's only like 2 weeks away now. Next one was an interesting one, and we have a lot to talk about this. The next topic is Disney. And I have a ton of notes here because I didn't exactly know what they meant, and I had to clarify this. So my original blurb of what I wanted to talk about actually changed after I read this. So Disney has filed a lawsuit against a Florida business for alleged trademark and copyright infringement for selling mouse ears and other Disney-themed items on Etsy, eBay, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, and a direct website. The lawsuit claims that companies, the Secret Disney Group and Popsella Marketplace, both managed and founded by Christopher and Hannah Martin, produced and sold merchandise using Disney's intellectual property. The goods included face masks, magnets, hair accessories, Mickey ears, stickers, decals, keychains, hats, fanny packs, buttons that court records show. Wow. According to the lawsuit, Disney characters like Mickey Mouse, Robin Hood, Winnie the Pooh, and Stitch were featured prominently without permission on several of these goods. And let's be honest, like, this is happening often. It is not just this company. I see things on Etsy all the time. I see things on Instagram where people are like, how to use your Cricut, how to make this, and they're creating all this stuff using Disney logos and images or whatever, right? This is something I think that's a much bigger issue than just this one company. In addition, the lawsuit shows that the defendants used other logos and designs that misused Disney logos and trademarks. Meanwhile, it looks like eBay has taken no action on the alleged infringement reports. So they were using, what it sounds like is they were using other marketplaces to funnel people to their website. It says also, nor does eBay apparently seem to care that the seller violates eBay's link policies on directing potential buyers off eBay to their direct website. So I've heard lots of people asking questions about this topic and does this apply? Can we still resell Disney items? And from what I understand, we can still resell Disney products. Definitely you're wanting to make sure that they're authentic Disney products. But yes, from my understanding, you can still resell these. They are cracking down on the reproduction of their logos. So if you sell on other marketplaces and maybe you create products for people to purchase that have logos on them that you do not own, this is where you want to be more cautious because it sounds like that's the type of people they're looking for right now. I also read that one individual can only purchase 2 of one item. So if you're in a Disney theme park, you can only purchase like 2 of those pins, 2 of those stuffies. The max is 2 per a customer. This is meant to limit stock buying for resale, right? So people go in, they buy, special releases and they're selling them online for much higher value. I guess Disney stuff is highly coveted. It's really hard because we live in Canada, we don't have a Disney park. I've never been to a Disney park. I think I just don't fully understand the craziness around Disney. I also read that in Tokyo, they have reports of people using fake babies to buy more items. And I was like, what the heck? People using fake babies. So basically saying, well, I want 2 stuffies for myself and I'm going to get 2 stuffies for my fake doll baby. Yeah, I just couldn't believe the lengths that people will go to get these items. And if you are one of those people, please explain it to me. I am trying to understand what the mania is around Disney. But some of the things I read through covering this story and reading information, I was just so shocked. To be honest, my kids are a bit more like Universal kids, and that's probably where we would be going. But many companies are trying to, police the resale of their products. And I think it's showing to be much harder than they anticipated, because people will go to any lengths to purchase. Like even with Nike, right? They are not allowing resellers. Well, people are just going to create multiple accounts. Like people are going to find ways to do these things. I think they're not going to be able to eliminate this, but I thought this was an interesting topic. I know a lot of people were concerned that it was going to affect resellers, and I personally don't think it will. You'll still be able to sell Disney sweaters, shirts, jackets, things that you find. All right. So next up, we are going to cover changes in platforms for the year 2023. And I actually searched up each platform that I could think of and just like search, eBay changes for 2023, Depop changes for 2023. The first one we're going to cover is eBay. And if you're an eBay seller, you probably already received a message about this or a pop-up, but eBay will be requiring new item specifics to be entered for items in multiple categories effective February 22nd, 2023. Oh my gosh. They kill us with categories. If you sell on eBay, it's ridiculous the things they're trying to get us to put in. So the categories include collectible figures and bobbleheads. I do think there's a lot of resellers selling that stuff. Motorcycle, scooter, ATV parts, accessories, and candles and home fragrance, home decor, pillows, furniture, window treatments, and hardware categories. Now, I think that's another area where people may have some issues because lots of people sell home decor items as well. It seems they do this often. It seems like this is always like, hey, we're working on these categories. We're working on this. This is the changes we're going to make. So I don't think this is like out of character or anything crazy. It's just annoying, if anything. They made all those changes like a year ago with the item specifics, and I think they're just kind of narrowing down on more categories. I also read if sellers don't fill in the required item specifics, not only will it impact their visibility in searches, eBay may decide to move their listings to other categories where their item would be buried even further. And I thought that was interesting because even with clothing, sometimes I'm like, really? Do I have to enter that? Really? And now I'm wondering, so if anyone out here is a seasoned eBay seller, you're a pro, you sell lots of stuff, how far do you go in clothing categories? Like pick a category, tell me what kind of information you're entering, because maybe I'm not entering enough information. I don't know. I did not realize this. Obviously I put the like mandatory stuff, and I try and do like a couple things extra, like if it's a shirt or like I say a jacket, long sleeve, zip up, made out of leather, whatever, like extra details. But yeah, I'm curious about this now. As well, if you receive the message, we're still on the eBay topic, you need to update your account details by January 31st, 2023 on file in order to avoid any issues with payouts in the future. So you are required to comply. I believe this is part of the Inform or the I-Inform or the, what's it called? The Inform law, sorry guys, that we discussed in last week's video. And basically, I think the details were over 200 sales, over $2,000 last year. You're considered a volume seller, and they are asking for more information. And basically, they're just creating like this transparency for sellers. So when buyers buy from you, there's a transparency. And I listen to the eBay podcast sometimes, and I feel like there was something talked about with electronics and people having issues where electronics were catching on fire, and there was like no follow-up, or it was hard to figure out who the sellers were and getting information. So I wonder if this has to do with some lawsuits that have been happening with injury from items. I don't know if it is. I'm just throwing it out there. I remember hearing them talk about it on the podcast a couple of months ago, but yeah. So you inform, or the inform law is rolling out, and this is different than the 1099. This is totally different. Depop. So this one is probably like the biggest one, and this is something that's going to impact a lot of people. Depop is making changes effective January 5th, 2023. The transaction fee that is charged for every sale that is made through Depop payments in the US will be increased. We wanted to outline how these changes may affect you as a seller. They will increase the transaction fee that is taken in addition to our 10% Depop fee. So this means instead of being charged 2.9% plus a 30-cent fee, you will now be charged 3.3% and a 45-cent transaction fee, plus the 10% Depop fee when you sell an item through Depop payments. The transaction fee for PayPal transactions remains at 3.49% and a 49-cent transaction fee. These are all charged on the sales. They cover the cost of processing a buyer's payment, and the fee is separate, so that these fee changes are separate from the Depop fee. Now, my understanding, and I thought I pasted it into my document, but my understanding is the card processing has increased. And I heard about that as well in the news, where before merchants were absorbing the costs that they were being charged to process credit card payments and different payment methods. But there is new legislation, I think, that's been passed where they can now pass on this increase to customers. So instead of the merchant absorbing the cost or having to cover that cost, they are now able to transfer this down to the buyer. And I feel like that was in Canada, but maybe it's happening, around, like maybe it's happening everywhere. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's do an example. Below is a breakdown of the fees that you would pay on an item sold for $40 through Depop payments. This is in the US. If you sold an item for $40, the Depop fee, which is 10%, would be $4. The Depop payments transaction fee, now being 3.3%, plus a 45-cent fee, is going to be $177, and that would be your total of $5.77 in fees. So the Depop balance, the amount that they would pay you, would be the $40 minus the $577, so you would be paid out $34.23. It's still better than some other platforms, but yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more, and I'm happy that Depop kept their initial fee at 10%. Like, I'm so happy they weren't like, hey, we're also going to increase 1%. So yeah, good on them. Thank you, Depop. And it's so sad about these card processing regulations and things that changed. But yeah, I mean, everything's increasing. Everything is increasing right now, except for what we are getting for our items. Let's be truthful here. The cost of living's going up, but what people are paying me for a pair of Lululemon leggings is going down in the last few months. I don't get that. No, I do get it, but why can't that increase as well? All right, so I did search other platforms for changes. Ones that came up with no results included Etsy, Mercari, Poshmark, but I feel like we're going to see some changes in the next few months with the whole acquisition from Naver. I did check Grailed, The RealReal, and Facebook Marketplace. So if you know of any changes in these other platforms that I missed, please leave them in the comments. Let us know. We are very limited in Canada to our platforms, so I use these as examples, but I was like, I really don't know all the platforms that you guys have. If there's any changes, drop it down in the comments. Let us know. Keep us informed. All right, moving along. There was a question on how to find higher end items, and someone said, I know I talk about my videos and I'm like, hey, I'm increasing my ASP, but how do you find these higher end items? And she had said in the comment that, she just only finds mall brand items and she doesn't find a lot of other stuff. And I wanted to talk about this. So I love this question. I think it's a good one because sometimes I feel very limited to my own brand knowledge. I'm going to say this is the first thing you have to work on. If you are trying to find more higher end items, you need to work on your brand knowledge as well. And this may not be this person who asked the question, this may not be the issue for them, but generally for anyone, if you're trying to increase your ASP, start with your brand knowledge. Do you know all the brands? Do you know what you're looking for? Because you could be passing over stuff that you don't know. I personally used to pass over items all the time that I did not know the value of. And that's also going to go into, comp searching. Just going back to knowing what brands sell. I like to search solds. I talk about this often. It's like a bedtime routine. Even if you only spend 10 minutes a night when you're in bed doing this, basically I go to my best-selling categories. I go to the top dollar categories. So for me, this might be jackets, boots, sweaters, jeans, right? I'm going to filter over $50, over $100, over $250. Then I'm going to comb through and look at the brand styles and trends. These are things that I'm making mental notes about. If I'm seeing brands, and for me, I feel like I only need to read an item, once or twice, and it kind of sticks in my brain that when I'm outsourcing, I'll be like, oh, okay, I recognize this, or I read this before. I'll grab it and then I'll search the comp on it. But this starts to give you, just seeing this, like just having these brands pop up into your head. I also look for quality material, and when I come across, so I'll like feel materials, and when I'm like, ooh, okay, this feels like a really good material content, I'll check. Usually if I check, I read the brand and I'm like, I don't recognize it, I'll go to the material content, and if it's a material content like cashmere, wool, merino wool, silk, Angora, modal, what other ones? There's like so many different material contents. I will then look up the brand, and I do like to use material content as a way to filter through things in the thrift store. Now, the other thing that I think you have to do is go outside of thrift stores, going to consignment stores, going to buy, sell, trade stores. These tend to have higher end items. This does have a learning curve, and it involves a lot of comp searching at the beginning. So until you know these brands and you know what you're looking for, you literally just have to comp search. And I probably spent a solid year comp searching everything that came into my cart, or every brand that I didn't recognize. And if I looked at it and I was like, okay, this kind of looks expensive, I would search it up. Now I feel like I search up maybe 25% of what I find, because I have a good idea. I've comp searched tens of thousands of items at this point. The other thing is you'll learn to use your better judgment. And I think knowledge is power. I always say this, knowledge is power. The more that you know, the better decisions that you can make. And I think going outside of your bubble of where you normally source. Also, if locally you don't have a lot of options, maybe you do a road trip. Like maybe one day a month, you're like, I'm going to the big city, I'm traveling 2.5 hours, I'm going to get up early in the morning, and I'm spending my day sourcing. I'm going to try and hit a variety of different shops and see what I can find. Maybe you do this once and you're like, is it worth it, right? I used to travel a lot for sourcing, and I'm probably going to start doing it a little bit more. I do find I am limited to the small town that I live in, but luckily we naturally do a lot of traveling. So I spend time in 2 other provinces that are neighboring that I can go and do some sourcing at as well. But yeah, I am hoping to do some more travel sourcing and hopefully come across things that I just don't normally have access to. If you have any tips, tricks, information that you would love to add to this, anything you felt that I missed, please share. I do think, raising your ASP, finding better quality items, it just takes time, practice, and research. Those are like my best tips. And even if you don't have anything locally, you can do retail arbitrage or sourcing online. I know a lot of people that live in remote areas that still get good quality pieces, and they either do travel sourcing or they're buying stuff online. They're looking for good deals, and they're just doing a lot of research into the items that they're sourcing. So it is possible. It just takes a little bit more work than probably going to the bins and just digging and grabbing stuff. All right, moving on to the next question. This is another one that I hear often, and it just popped up in the comments a couple days ago. How many items do you need in your closet to make daily sales? Or like people like to ask, how many items do you need to have in your closet before your closet is like, producing and doing well. And personally, I don't think that this has anything to do with the amount of items that you carry in your closet, but more on your sell-through rate. And I think the better sell-through rate you have, the less amount of items you can have in your closet and still make continuous sales. So sell-through rate measures the amount of inventory that is sold within a given period relative to the amount of inventory received within the same period. I usually like to calculate mine on a monthly basis. I haven't done this actually in forever, but I used to calculate it and then be like, okay, so if this is my sell-through rate, how many items do I have to source using this sell-through rate to get the sales that I want? And I am a math nerd, obviously. Strictly speaking, sell-through rate estimates how quickly a company can sell its inventory, converting it into revenue. This is best explained by how desirable your items are. And I think that really breaks it down. I've heard of people having 1,000 to 2,000 active listings and not being able to make daily sales, or struggling to make, consistent sales weekly, where I have 350 to 450. That's kind of like, it fluctuates in there, active listings, and I can usually make daily sales, and if not, I'm making 20 to 30 sales a week. That is my average. Now, we all have no sales days, and I need to throw that out there, but I like to look at it on a weekly sales amount. And I think another focus that could be made is, instead of like daily sales value, it's how about the dollar value sold? I would rather sell 10 $100 items to make 1,000 than 100 $10 items. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying? I would rather work less and make the same amount of money than work harder and have to photograph, list, ship 100 items to make that. I think there's two things that everyone should work on. Number one, their sell-through rate. So having a higher percentage sell-through rate. Personally, mine usually sits between, I would say, 60 to 85%, and usually on the higher, like the 70 to 85%. Lately, I feel like it's just been on the lower end because sales are just super slow, but my typical one would be averaging 70 to 85%. And if there's one thing that you work on this year, I would say your sell-through rate, and then also working on higher ASP items, and then obviously trying to keep your cost of goods down, right? Like, you're looking at your profit margin more than just having like a higher ASP. Having a item that sells for 100 that you paid, $70 for, that's not the profit margin you want. But having an item that sells for $60 that you only paid like 10 or 15 for, right? That's kind of what I'm consistently shooting for in my business. But yeah, comp searching when you source, that is one of the best ways to improve this, and making smart choices with your inventory, which, like I said, is like one of my number one goals right now. I have two more things to cover. So another great question I received is, do I batch everything I source the same day and get it all done? Absolutely not. So partly for myself, because I'm a content creator, I usually source one week, hang the items for my haul, which are here. And then once I do my haul video, they transfer to the rack right behind me here. And this is the items that I'm going to be listing currently this week. So if you're ever watching my videos, that's how things move through here. But yeah, I find I use that 2-rack system. I source until I reach the number of listings I require for that week. So if I can, and then like a little bit more, but if I can get 40 items in one day of good quality pieces. So for me, it's 40 items a week with an ASP of $50. I'm shutting her down. I might, like, if I can find a little bit more, I might go out the next day and I'm just looking for like easy, low hanging fruit, easy things to grab, but I will not put more time into sourcing, and I'll put more time into listing. I do have other areas of my business that I work on, like YouTube, and I'm thinking of doing some other things with my business, but I'm not ready to release them yet. So yeah, I may put my extra time into those areas. I don't know. I got a lot in the works right now. But I don't do all that in one day. So I don't want to ever like put that out there. And I feel like maybe a long time ago, it was something I used to do. I would try and record the video the same day and get it listed, but it's just not realistic to how I am creating my content and putting out my videos now. So that's my take on it. Let's break it down when I do my listing. So I have all this. When I do my listing, I'm trying to grab 10 items at a time. They're usually going to be like items. So for me, if I have 10 Lulu items, I'm grabbing those. And the reason being is that they're easy to list. I can search up style numbers on the size dot, and I just find them quick and easy. Another one that I might batch together would be like Aritzia tops. If I had a bunch of Aritzia tops or items, I'll do them all at the same time, because it's really easy to look up the article numbers and get the information that I need. Then I might do, jeans. If I have a bunch of different jeans, I'll photograph those in a batch of 10. But basically, I'm working in batches of 10 right now. And what I'll do is I'll bring them downstairs, or I'll prep them up here. I'll bring them downstairs. I'm going to photograph them all, hang them on the back of the door, and then I'm just going to list them right away, do my measurements, and put them into an inventory bag. So I usually carry my inventory bags because I reuse the numbers, and I'll carry them downstairs. As I'm listing, it goes in the bag. I put the SKU in. That's it. It's going in an IKEA bag. And then once I'm done that day, so say I do 20 items, I carry the IKEA bags up into my inventory room. And honestly, that is usually where they sit for the next 2 weeks because I suck at putting my inventory away into the bins. What usually prompts me is like doing shipping and 1 or 2 items I can't find because they're in one of the 3 IKEA bags that I just listed. So yeah, I got to work on getting the items put away into the inventory, but I definitely work in batches. And I feel like for me, batches of 10 is very manageable. Sometimes I'll go up to 15, but I rarely go over 15 at a time. I would rather get those done and then grab another bunch, photograph them. And then I like to stay on like items. So if I'm having to create full listings from scratch, I want to do items that are all similar so that my brain is in that mode. So for me, I probably won't do like jeans, sweaters, athletic tops, shoes, boots, and mix them all up into my 10 items because I don't find I work as efficiently. Like my brain has to like transition to all these different categories, where if I'm doing one category of items, those keywords, those style tags, like all that information my brain is using, and I just feel like it's less fatiguing. So that's like another tip. And I feel like I pulled that from pharmacy because we do like efficient workflow and like tasks that create errors, like medical errors. And what they have found for us is that medical errors happen often when your brain is switching tasks frequently. So it is encouraged that we work on like certain tasks for periods of time, because if you're doing too many different things, you just have a higher risk of error. And I think it just works the same. Like you just fatigue yourself. And I find it with listing too. I just get tired. My brain gets tired. If you're listing 5 items and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted at the end, it's probably because you were listing 5 totally different items, and it is exhausting. It's tiring coming up with good descriptions on all these different categories of items. Okay, I'm going to end rant there. I know you guys know what I mean because you're all my tribe. That's why you're here. You probably are thinking, oh my gosh, this makes total sense. I am now breaking it down. Okay, next one that I wanted to talk about, and this is another common question. This is the last one. Do I ship daily? And I think this is a really good one because there are people that ship daily that are adamant, that swear by it, and then there are people that don't. And I'm one of those people that actually doesn't. I do maintain, I think I have a 1.7 day shipping time right now, which isn't great, but we've been gone a lot and I've pushed shipping dates a lot. So kind of doing it to myself. But I usually ship every 2 to 3 days. So during the week, I would usually ship out probably Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This is depending on the week, my work schedule, what days we're gone traveling out of province. Are we going to the lake, the mountains, snowboarding? What are we doing? Also, who's at home? If I can package them up and delegate someone else to drop them off for me, definitely going to do that. Jeff tends to do a lot of my package drop-offs for me earlier in the week, because Sundays I'm usually packaging items up from the weekend, but I work Mondays most days. Because I start work at 7:30 in the morning, Jeff will take my parcels and drop them off sometime before lunch. And the post office is in our neighborhood. He works in our neighborhood. It's pretty easy for him. I also have Lena, who's my adult child going to college, and I will sometimes give her a bag of parcels to drop off on her way home from school. So yeah, teamwork makes the dream work in our household, but I don't think you have to ship daily. I think you can do, 2 or 3 times a week. Now, I think for Posh ambassador status, you have to have a certain rating. And so you definitely want to be cautious with that. It's doable. You don't have to ship daily. Don't stress yourself out about it. It's not close. Like I have to drive, I think 7 minutes to the post office, which isn't much. But when the weather is like minus 25 or minus 30 degrees, I am not starting my car up just to drop off 2 packages to the post office. Sorry guys, it's just not happening. I may wait until I have a couple more to drop off, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. That's what I do. These videos really are a lot of just my own interpretation, what I do in my own business. There is rarely a right or wrong. It's what works for you. So I hope these videos help you guys out. I hope they give you some insight, maybe some things that you can work on in your business or things that you can take away. If you find value in these videos and they help you in your reselling business, please give me a thumbs up and let me know. Also, if you're not subscribed and a part of the crew, make sure you tap that subscribe button because you are missing out on steady fun here. Also, I just want to thank you guys all for supporting my channel and being so amazing to me. I appreciate you guys. You don't know how much. I say this all the time, but I truly love you guys. Thank you so much. And on that note, I'm out here. All right, I'm wishing you guys so many sales, like extra, because we need the juju right now. Send some to me too, please, because it's been so bad. I need the juju right now. And I will see you next time. All right, guys, take care. Bye.